All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. I am Paddo. Along with me is going to be Highwind, back on the mic, back together.
Out of retirement, you could say.
Oh, yes. Yes, out of retirement here for, again, yes, your eyes do not deceive you. This is Judgment, and we've put a twist on it. It's now the Judgment League. What we've done is we've gotten 40 premier players from the BC and Pacific Northwest area. We got 8 of our best captains, threw a bunch of Diamond and Challenger players together, and this is the highest level Judgment ever created.
The highest possible is over 9,000. Yes, and you know what? It's been a lot of fun reaching out to these players and inviting a lot of these players. And right now, we hope that we're going to bring you nothing but top level play from around the league, at least from around the Pacific Northwest. We sprinkled in a few California players, as you can see. Otter, who has, he's got Northwest roots, but he's moved to California.
Sea life, I always felt in my heart that it was like Seattle life, That's the
Actually, Hank, he lives in Phoenix now, also from Seattle, and I thought Fat was going to end up on Team Zik. I thought he was going to take Fat before he took Super Metroid. So actually, I was like, oh man, this is going to be the team not Pacific Northwest. But no, they did take Super Metroid. So Zik took Super Metroid and PHP Chicken. Those were both Northwest players.
Woo woo.
A lot of BC influence, a lot of top level Seattle, Portland, a little almost Idaho, or Eastern Washington, and we've got Victoria. So the Pacific Northwest is well represented here.
Yeah.
And why don't you tell us? Tell us a little bit about some of these players, at least the ones that you would like to talk about as we get into this.
I think Hank M has to be the one that talked about, and like you said, it's like. He wasn't the last pick. Zik pulled him, and he said that's what he wanted. But, when you say, you want Hank M on your team, it's almost like you kind of want a bullet to your head, in a tournament. You never know. It's either going to be, the big upside or, it could be a downside. You never know. But at the same token, DarkTerrorz pulled the same thing. He got the twins on his team who's experienced with in local land play format and the Bills, bro. And they can be really good together, but they can also deteriorate each other with infighting. And then you also pick up Zongu Pro, who Thomas Yu is notoriously either the best asset to your team or the worst. As I was kind of saying in Champ Select or in chat before the game started, it's he is the new proud holder and waiver of the Etsu banner. Of what Etsu used to be. It's is he gonna show up? Is he gonna play? Is he gonna
Etsu's twin brother?
Yeah, is it gonna be diamond? Is it gonna be silver? We don't know yet. So a lot of these guys taking some risks, but we have. Obviously, huge amount of talent on both teams. DarkTerrorz, multiple diamond accounts. And obviously, the Twins can play really well. They have a great track record in Judgment. And then you also have Otter, who is just a god who had a terrible track record and had a curse, but then he lifted it off of himself. And now, moved to California, has been playing with a lot of players. The only thing we can expect is that Otter's actually better than he was when we saw him last time, back when he was playing in our previous Judgment. So I'm really excited for this game, and especially with Zik, too, because Zik... kind of the new, I guess Altec's still a youngin', but, he's kind of in that range where it's really talented young player.
Yeah, I was going to say we have a few, 16-year-olds in this event? 60-year-old, somewhat Diamond 1 and or Challenger players. Altec used to be, our first, he's God among men, or in this case, boys, because he was the youngest, most talented player that we had a chance to compete. And he would be in Judgment, except he's got to... practice for a lot of the big stuff going down with MCS and I don't know all that Curse Academy stuff. He's gonna go pro at some point. So
also just to fill some people in here on what the format is that a lot of these players, so the captains came in, we said, hey, we want you to be a big part of this league, so we also want to kind of give you a bonus. So all these captains coming in actually got to choose a player for their team. So Zik's pick was Otter. DarkTerrorz took Dexter 4, or the Bills Bro, as he's known here, and so they were able to pick those players and start off with those players before the draft even started. That's what's going to happen in week 1. After week 1, when there's more information on the players and we go through and people have a better idea of what players are capable of, then it's going to be, anybody goes, no holds barred, and it should be a lot of fun because we're going to be doing this over 5 weeks, and on the 6th week we're going to have a final taking the top half, and we're going to have some stellar prizes to be announced in the near future. But let's get into, what's going on with this game. So interesting enough, Wukong actually coming out as a ban. I actually haven't seen Wukong banned in a long time. Yeah, there clearly is something that they know about the enemy team. Maybe, Otter has been playing some top
Hank?
Wukong and they know something about it, or
that's banning is Hank. The last pick of the draft player-wise.
Earns first ban.
Earns first ban in all of Judgment, the first Judgment League. So, we can talk about that a little. But yeah, that's Hank basically was a plat player when we sort of started putting the invites list together for the Northwest. And he said, Joe, I really want to be in this league. I said, Hank, you better get to Diamond because, even that. And so played a lot of Wukong. But he did have that, hey, I want to get into this league. I want to show people that I can, I am good. I am worthy of playing. And so, he did that mainly on the back of Wukong. But the thing that people don't really know about Hank is that he was a support player. And he's a pretty talented support player. So I think we could see some potential roaming Alistar, or at least a strong Alistar in game. And I don't know though, because they're going to be going up against DarkTerrorz, who, or actually, he might be going up against the brothers.
Yeah,
that could be the twins down the bot lane. So we will see. But right now though, team's looking pretty fancy. The first pick off the board was Zyra.
Yeah.
And then they swept it around with Jace, who I think is the most broken champ known to man. He's also part of our logo, so if you didn't know, there's 2 weapons depicted in our Judgment League logo. One of them might be a hammer.
Yeah. One might be Jace's hammer, and then one of them might be a giant axe that you hate to get chopped with over and over and over again.
And then as we did see, we do have Alistar here probably going support, followed up with, on the other side, they came back with Tristana, which I believe could be a Dexter 4 pick. I think DarkTerrorz has really moved away from playing what he was known for, which was that bot lane carry. And I think he's just going to, in this point, I think he's going to go mid. And it looks like they're going to have, is that Oreo or Aurora? They'll probably swap that up. I would probably expect Oro to be support. We'll probably see format Jungle Cho'Gath. Followed up by with Zongu Pro, who will probably be playing a top lane.
Lysandra.
Lysandra, which I would here come the swaps. I think that's what we're gonna see. I'm excited. I like Lysandra top. I like to play like Rise and Lysandra top. Those tanky APs that you kind of sit up there, farm for a while, then do a lot of CC, or carry towards that mid to late game. On the other hand, this other team is somewhat stacked. We've got Hyper Carry Vayne with Otter. We've got the Hank supporting it. So who knows? That could just be
wild card again. Wild card.
That could be saying, well, we had a Challenger 2 ADC, but our support. But that's okay. We control Hank a little bit. He knows it's coming, and he's ready to prove himself. We've got Super Metroid rocking Nocturne. We're gonna have Jace probably in the top or mid lane. We're not quite sure yet because they also have a Kennen who could also be top or mid. What are your thoughts on these teams so far?
I like both teams. Like if you look at Purple Team, they have a lot of potential to disengage or engage really, really hard if they need to. They have a lot of mobility, and they have a lot of champions right now that are just kind of those terror solo laners, between Kennen and Jace. It's just like 2 champions that you don't want to have to deal with. On the other hand, like if you look at how, beefy and tanky potentially DarkTerrorz team can become and how much peel they have, and really that they can basically just like stack on the back of Dexter 4, the Bills bro. If he gets into that late game, I mean, they could be really, really potent with that because like not only do they have intervention, but there's so many other ways they can just like absolutely just peel for Tristana. And even though Tristana has that huge range, is normally hard to get to, it's like all the peel you would need ever in so many big beefy bodies that it'll be kind of an interesting game because they've kind of locked themselves too into like Nocturne as a jungler who, like his goal is going to be able to get in there, but as soon as he gets in there, like one spell shield is not going to be enough to like keep him in and have him survive. I imagine we're probably going to see Super Metroid actually just go super tank build on Nocturne just so he can get in, just try to eat some cooldowns so the rest of his team can actually follow up. But it should be an interesting battle of kind of like the hyper carries and who can actually, put their hyper carry in the best position.
And if we see, let's say we see chicken mid, which we might, and that's most likely going to turn into more of what we're going to see as a siege Jace.
Yeah.
So I think that would be a key asset for the purple team or soon to be red team. Once they get into that mid to late game. So I mean, we're gonna see a lot of siege. We're gonna see some heavy initiate from Nocturne, who I think is gonna get peeled relentlessly. Man, that's a scary team. Like, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that jungle, that Nocturne player that's like, man, I gotta really alt into this.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah, sacrifice the body at this point.
Like, nah, whatever. But I mean, if they follow that up with, as you said, the Kennen alt, the Slicing Maelstrom, and they follow that with a really strong Pulverize, like, that's a lot of potential, like, AoE CC that's gonna prevent them from getting to Vayne. And if Vayne's going to get into a couple auto attacks off, well, I mean, what more do you need? Like, they don't really have a front line. They have ways to initiate, right? You have a Lysandra who can probably initiate. You can initiate off of Zyra, Cho'Gath, but those are all, skill-based initiators. So, I mean, Vayne, I think, is going to be pretty clean, and I think we removed the block on summoner spells, so Otter not taking cleanse. Probably not really worried. He said, you know what?
He's gonna rely on those tumble skills.
Hank, you will give up your body for me.
You're gonna eat a lot of stuff for me, buddy.
He said, Alistair's got built-in cleanse, so you just step in front of that stuff and just press R, bro, and let me do the rest. So we are really excited here. We haven't quite talked about the whole Judgment League event as it in terms of each week to week and all the mechanics and stuff that's going to go in between draft order and league points, and we'll get into that later because we're going to load into this game, and I'm really excited.
Yeah, I mean, it should be a fun process. Again, it's going to be a 5-week regular season. Teams are going to the players and captains are going to gain points separately based on how well they place. And then, as we get down to the 5th week and final week, there's going to be some really tense moments where some players are going to need to be right on the line where, if the difference between, maybe not even first place, but even like second, and, third place or, 4th and 5th place or whatever can, get them in or out. But, hey, there may be like the Hail Mary that if they, some other players don't do very well and they get a first place finish there, they could just like jump right into the league. So, and it should keep players like really active too. I think that knowing that at any point they could really swing their points, and the teams are going to constantly change up. So it's going to be a really fun new experience and new team dynamics every time around. And we'll see actually if some captains actually start to lean towards some favorites, because eventually there's going to be a point too where it's like everybody's done one, everybody's challenger. It's like as players build their own reputation, what captains are picking them up, which captains kind of pick them up as their favorites, and then decide like, hey, like, even though I know no one's valuing this guy, I'm going to take him early because I just know that he's going to be a big factor for my team and my play style and how I want to run a team. And the strategy of those captain mechanics and those captain picks will come in also as we get deeper into the league, because they're going to know who they're facing first round, and because this is a modified Swiss event, so all teams are playing 3 games. That's really important to note. It's not your standard Judgment where it's a single elimination best of 1. Oh, yes.
Which meant that half your teams were done after the first round. Oh no. What we changed it up, we modified it so that those other 4 teams are also playing out, and what we'll see is that a team that loses the first round but wins the second and third round, they're kind of on that loser side of the bracket, will also place and win just as many league points as the second place team or the third place team, because there are going to be 3 teams that had 2 wins, and we don't feel that a team should be ultimately punished for losing the first round. So using this new style of tournament mechanics, we call it a modified Swiss. And there we go, ladies and gentlemen, our first troll of the gang.
Zagu Pro already making plays for his team.
But yeah, so that's kind of why we feel pretty strong about the bracket system and incorporating into a league each week. These guys are going to pair off. They're going to earn league points, and we're going to deviate the top half of the league and take them into a finals, which will be just kind of a mini Judgment version. There'll be 4 captains, 16 remaining players. Those 20 players will draft. It'd be really cool if we could do it live. But that's
plans for the future, maybe season 2. We'll see. I mean, again, it's a little bit hard since we split the leagues between 2 regions, and so getting across the border, some of these guys don't even have cars, let alone passports to get across the border. So we'll see for season 2. We have big plans coming forward. So if you like this stuff, and we're also there's plans in the future too that we're going to expand this and get more people involved too. I mean, that's definitely part of our goal here. But for now, we thought, hey, let's kick it off with something big. And it's actually going to be pretty cool. And so we actually see here, at least the way, a lot of these teams are starting out here. You see Doran's Blade actually coming in to play a lot. Like even on like early mages that have really good attack ranges and can harass really well, like a Kennen, like an Annie, if you will. And so the reliance on just like lifesteal kind of runes and just going Adoran's Blade can actually be really, really potent if you want to try to bully someone early in lane. In response to that, we had pots, nerfed a while ago, so you could only carry 5 max. In this case, Lissandro's saying like, hey, I'm just gonna take elixir and extra pots and just kind of have constant sustain, just try to keep coming back to lane, and hopefully just sustain out through this Kennen and be a bigger, team play factor for later on. But I mean, both these teams are gonna be sick, and especially like just like the Otter, seeing him bot lane with Hank M, like that's like the most exciting lane to me, because it's like you have this really talented player and this other really talented player that could like throw at any moment, and then like you have the dynamic too of like, then does like one start to rage on the other one, and like I think
hopefully not. Hopefully we brought the most respectful, fun-loving.
You would hope. You would hope.
And that brings a really cool point regarding the league, is that because of the system where we have 40 individual players, there are going to be 8 static captains. These captains are going to be somewhat cornerstones. You're going to see them week to week.
Yeah.
We're going to display them prominently, so to speak. But that's the thing. You could be a fan. You don't have to be a fan of the captains to be a fan of Judgment. You could be a fan of Otter. You'd be like, man, I don't care what team Otter's on. I just want to watch Otter play. And and we say Otter, or Zik is, Marshall is his real name is Marshall, is a captain. But I mean, you could be a fan of some other, of these players and find out what team they're on and come watch that, which we think that's a really cool mechanic. That's why we kind of built it into the league, so to speak. I may be an Oddwin fan or a Dias fan, but that means does that mean I also have to like TSM and I also have to like Reggie? I mean, come on. No, I'm just kidding. I have an Oddwin poster. But I mean that's kind of, we're not looking to take over the big leagues, but we are looking to show that there's a little bit more between just YOLO Q. And then we're kind of like that stopgap between YOLO Q and
the competitive scene.
Yeah, competitive scene.
And forming teams. And a lot of these players, maybe they play a lot together, and after this league, they want to form teams. And a lot of these players do know each other. They're familiar with each other. So I mean, and some of them like have heard the other one's reputations throughout solo queue, because as you kind of get up to that diamond challenger range, like there's less people up there. So like your name becomes like, it's not like you're in like gold where there's like hundreds, thousands of people.
Highwinds.
You get up there, and it's just like there's like 100 people in your division, and you hear about these people throughout, and you run into them. And so a lot of these players have played against each other in solo queue, or they run into each other, so they know a bit about each other, and it's fun. And as a spectator, it is going to be fun to see week to week, and see those standings. Like do you get a favorite player? Does he make some awesome plays? And then is he now like on the cusp of making the finals or not? And now you got to like cheer him on in for the different captains, but. Yeah, I mean, there's just so many dynamics for it that's going to be so fun to watch this kind of unique format, and hopefully this game unpauses soon, and we'll be able to get started. So sorry about that, guys. We don't like pauses, but there has been word about some server issues, at least with Comcast customers, so hopefully that's not what the culprit is here, and we'll be able to start pretty shortly.
Yeah, we have seen Zongu Pro disconnect twice, but he's just rejoined the game. Hopefully it's going to be somewhat lag-free, and we will get this game started. This could be an intense level 1.
Both teams are running at each other right now, and they have the same idea. Typically,
it could also be an intense dance-off in mid.
Well, I mean, typically I think they're going to see each other if they both head for the mid brush, just standard, the way Hank's running and the way the rest of the team's running. I think they're probably going to see each other. However, normally, like what you typically see from blue side now is like there is an invasion, but it's just to put a ward on red and just like catch the jungle rotation. It's not necessarily to go in and steal. Just because wards are super prevalent in the early stages. We see that blue team's actually a little bit ward light, but I expect there to be a fair amount of wards in the early stages, and hopefully not too many crazy invades. But you have to expect too, with like the level 1 between Cal, Pulverize, and then Jace is like the best level 1 character in the game, like that kind of stuff. Like there's a lot of potential here that we could see just red team go in there and try to make something happen and bully them out.
And outside, really strong level 1. The only thing that is a little bit makes me think that the red team's not purely invading for invade purposes, that Nocturne's still hanging out at the fountain.
Yeah,
he's getting his drink on.
He's bought items, but he's just waiting for the unpause. Apparently, yeah, like he had his hot pocket just got finished, had to run go get it real quick. Don't worry, guys, I'll be there.
So Since we do have this moment, if you're in chat right now, feel free to throw us a question. We'll be happy to take a quick Q&A session.
Yeah, sure. If you have any questions about Judgment or anything like that, I'll actually link the Battlefy page for Judgment. The plan is to have a website soon that'll have track stats for the teams and have better ways to follow. But go to that link, check it out. But it looks like we're gonna get started finally. So
that was the secret.
Yeah,
bring the audience in.
Just open Q&A, bring the audience in, and the game will start instantaneously.
Huzzah!
Oh, they actually get vision with that, and so Format actually knows what's up though as well. Backing off out of this Hank. We'll see if he actually tries to blow something to get in there, but no, they're just gonna back off. They can't really fully engage, like you said again, because we see that Super Metroid just lagging a little bit behind here, running out with his team.
And that's clearly not a one-off. I mean, if these two teams went head to head at level 1, there would be multiple deaths, and I think on both sides. So right now, I think, like you said, they're gonna go in. They're gonna play for vision control. We see three wards down so far, and I think those are one of those being an Explorer ward.
Yeah, I mean that's the cheap way to gain vision in the early stages, especially on supports. And I've even seen Explorer wards on like multiple champions, especially when you have like a Rise on your team. You can go support masteries and just throw one in. There's a lot of potential there to just gain some extra vision in the early stages just to protect your early jungle, because counter jungling is a really scary thing, especially in this jungle age too. It's like you can be put way far behind. So neither team wants any of that, and it looks like we're actually going to have the red start too, so that we're going to have Format be able to start red. He can go for a gank bot if he wants, or he can just rotate up to blue, grab that real quick, then go top and already be level 3, and go help out this Kale, who's actually going to be facing off against the Cannon top.
Yeah, I think if I'm Cho'Gath, I'm anticipating that then Nocturne, who could have started red, but I think he's, based on what they saw Jace hanging around that mid bot brush, they're probably anticipating Nocturne starting blue. He has that information. He's probably just want to, say, hey, I'm going to go ahead and start red. I'll go rotate to my blue, and then if need be, I can counter, I can be there in top lane when Nocturne shows up, if Nocturne decides to show up. Nocturne's more of those farm-heavy based junglers who's like, you know what, I'm just going to wait till 6. He has the opportunity to gank early if he so chooses, but I think at this point we could definitely see a Nocturne just sit in the jungle until basically level 6. Or if someone dies, he might just show up and steal some farm. That's how I roll. So at this, at my level, it's a little bit different.
Yeah, I actually really like this the ward that they have up here that actually pretty much prevents him if he wanted to come around here for a mid gank. So Cho'Gath, like if Jace actually gets some pressure there, like he would be able to see it out, and like Cho'Gath really is only going to be able to kind of patrol and protect top. He's not going to be able to go on mid just based off that ward, which is it's a pretty good ward placement. Just obviously just going in there for the early engage and just matching up against each other. But now we actually see Tristana using that explosive shot, which he maxed a lot more these days, just pushing in here onto this vein to kind of get that early pressure on that early link. But laning phase, and here we have the traded ignites. DarkTerrorz in a lot of trouble though, but here is Cho'Gath to try to protect him. The Fear Tether is going to go off, but what's it going to do? It looks like that Rupture just barely missed, and the exhaust going on. DarkTerrorz is going to blow flash at the last second to get out, but now Kennen has that range. Format is actually in a lot of trouble. They don't want to lose. They land the Rupture. He flashes in. He's not able to get him in low health, but he will get it with the Scream, and now it looks like double buff going to be reset actually on to Nocturne. Nicely picked up by Super Metroid, but a really nice fight there and able to save DarkTerrorz, who looked like he was very, very low there, but they're still able to pick up Kennen as well. The unfortunate part is they're not really going to be able to pressure off that, so neither top lane is really going to be that far behind, and honestly, Kennen's actually going to get to lane first.
Yeah, Kennen will be able to come back lane. I think he will be. You have the Enix.
Zangu Pro in a lot of trouble. Tried to escape, threw out a little bit too late, and there's that just relentless Jace burst coming in from PHB Chicken. And that's going to be a lot of trouble, because once you start to get behind Jace, he's already a really annoying high utility champion, but once he gets ahead of you, that poke just hurts that much more and becomes pretty unbearable.
And as we take a look at the bot lane, nice zoning here we've got. I think the problem with Alistar is he's very old school. He's like the
legacy champion.
Yeah, he's legacy champion. So unless they
flashes in, they're getting after it, puts him underneath turret, counter flash out, gets condemned away, not actually underneath turret. It looks like Alistar's going to go pretty low, but now DarkTerrorz, what a great fear tether, sends him the other way. Sometimes you get that fear tether and it keeps him running and you're just like, dang it, I hate this thing. Is this even an ability? But right there, sends him the other way, able to pick him up. Great pick off in top lane, and Ken just going to run amok up there with Nocturne to actually put pressure on a turret. We actually see Cho'Gath rotating up to try to protect this, and Zangu Pro all of a sudden in a lot of trouble yet again. That burst so potent.
It looks like Matt's just going to come up here. He's going to farm creeps. Wow, Super Metroid 6 already. 2 levels ahead of Zik. That's actually going to be really strong for when they move towards another gank, between this next gank.
Oh,
and
no.
Actually, it might happen right now. Oh.
Oh, wow. The shutdown actually coming through. Buff's going to go nowhere. I thought he had that with the tank of the turret, but the turret shows just a little bit too powerful by the time
that extra
he was able to
5% turret damage.
Yeah.
I think, I don't know, that was like 2 or 3 patches ago. You're like, oh, that's not a big deal. It's just 5%. You're like, damn it.
Kind of just were little standard misclicks from a Jace player who throws on the gate a little bit behind him, and so his gate just comes out all wimpy, 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 and not hefty, hefty, hefty like it should be if you want to put in those deeps.
So I would like to see a little more of this mid lane matchup, because right now we know Lysandra is really far behind. She's in terms of experience. I think she's at least 1.5 levels behind. She's 2 levels here at this point. She's probably gonna hit that level 5 soon. I think with once we get Cho'Gath caught up a little bit, now that Format's got 2 kills under his belt, he's going to start to get a little bit tanky. He's going to start using those fee stacks on neutral minions, and then he'll probably show up in lane. And they should have enough burst to take care of Jace. Jace is very squishy, and he's not going to be as slithery as he wants to be. But we do have Nocturne setting up for a counter gank.
Oh, quick flash out. There's the ult on Zonga Pro. Going to be taken care of right away. Fear Tether going to land again onto Format, but it's going to help him out a little bit. He's not in too much trouble, especially with that shot missing. And just like PHP Chicken, just going to take over control yet again. Great placement by there. And Kennen going all in. Gets very, very deep. Gets the stun off, and nicely played. Caught DarkTerrorz sleeping just a little bit right there.
Said, you know what? I got level 6 for you, bro.
Yeah.
Well played. These players showing us that you can be punished for being behind just a little bit, and I think that's one of the things that we're going to see a lot of as we go through these Diamond Challenger level players here in Judgment. And right now they're going to take that first turret of the game going down in mid. That might give Zongu Pro a chance to free farm a little bit, because that's what he needs, and he's just going to be a little bit unsafe. I don't think we'll see too much of Jace roaming, but we could see Jace come back and pick up that blue buff here shortly. It's
that double-edged sword, right? Because it's like, unlike top lane where it's a little bit easier to freeze and you can still like kind of be fine. Like mid lane, the problem is like, yeah, you can freeze, but then like so much of the map is opened up now for red team that they can start making plays on other objectives, or just like getting deep in behind blue's lines, who's constantly pushed up, and it could be a big problem for them if we don't see a lot of wards start to come up to try to protect them from that. And if you look at, both teams actually are pretty ward light besides top lane, that one mid ward for Jace that we have down right now. So we'll have to see how this turns out. And Zyra
nice
trying to come in, protect,
combo.
but the rocket jump gonna be able to save Billsboro. And the one thing I like about Oreo on Zyra here is like every time that there's been a trade in bot lane, he's always made sure to, as Zyra, to actually get in a lot of auto attacks and make the trade actually in their favor. Even in the very, very early stages, Vayne came and actually put a lot of damage on Tristana, and he threw in a bunch of auto attacks back, and on those early stages it actually hurts. And you can see there, he's constantly, he knows like, oh, I'm safe, I can get off this as free damage, I should do this, and that's just kind of another sign of a high-level support player that's not completely concerned with, necessarily just protect my carry and run with them and, kind of like hold hands.
Kale in a lot of trouble right now. Actually, 3 levels behind the enemy jungler. DarkTerrorz not having the greatest of games. I think he wants this next creep wave. It should turn him into level 6. Oh, Oreo is going to get caught here.
But Will just trying to be able to save. It looks like it is going to be close down. Tries to throw down some more damage. Just trying to waste time as much as possible. Will he have a root, though, to make this count? Although the turret down top is going to go down. They're going to get the stuns, but it looks like DarkTerrorz able to come in here, backed up by Cho'Gath to try to clear this one out. And oh my gosh, the Billsboro so close to take down Zyra. Action all over the map, but in comes Jace. And this is going to be bad times for Format. He's going to get closed in on, and double buff is going to be transferred over. Now DarkTerrorz running for his life, and this turns around Zyra now bot lane, going for the double kill, just needs one last shot. It's going to go to Billsboro, and everybody just decide, now's the time for everybody to die. Lanes are done with. Those don't count anymore.
9-minute mark. Let's go.
And that's what I like to see. These are the kind of exciting games you want to see. Both, players that are very experienced and know like their rotations and, go for the jugular. They know where their advantages are. And, as soon as they see Jace go on top, Lysandra's going bottom and trying to help out in that team fight, and they stuck around a little bit too long, got a little bit too greedy in bot lane, fighting it out with Tristana, and they pay for it with a double kill and possibly a turret here, but it looks like we're actually going to see Nocturne come in here and be able to protect. Oh my gosh, this is a pretty fed Nocturne, and Billsboro right now is saying to his team, who fed this guy? This hurts so bad. The exhaust goes down, but it looks like, oh my gosh, he is going to get away, dodges that, and now we see Jace coming into the shot, just barely misses. Rocket jump on the way back out. Looks like Zyra not going to be as lucky. Going to get picked off as well, and Cho'Gath is going to be able to come down and hopefully clean up the pieces, but they now have 5 in position around the Dragon. DarkTerrorz is top, and they should be able to take Dragon at the very least.
Zyra, best support in A. I'm just saying. Well, he says, you know what? I got you, Trist. I will sacrifice my body for your life. And that's exactly what happened. And good plays, too. I thought they were going to turn it around, but then Jace showed up and said that was a different story. We do see almost a 4K Gold League coming out so far with that Dragon. And that doesn't look like DarkTerrorz is going to be able to secure the top lane turret. And Format better be careful because there's a lot of dive potential here with a level 6 Alistair.
Yeah, we could see it in here, although they do have pretty decent protection. And, you know, I think that Cho'Gath has just kind of been to the point now where they're just completely gun shy. They're trying to hold this as long as possible. I don't think they're actually going to engage on this because they'll probably get punished for it unless they have a Lissandra, but they actually have really good warding up bottom. They actually bring 5 bottom to try to deal with this. Maybe they'll play rope-a-dope a little bit, but the ward actually is caught out there, so Red knows what's up. Now they're just going to take pressure all over the rest of the map, but their lanes are pretty well pushed out. Nocturne, the only ones that's probably going to be able to put damage on a turret. So it looks like they're probably just going to stall out here, and we might see a fight. Hankem getting caught out here. Actually, nice headbutts to a minion to try to get some extra distance, but will he be able to get away? Jukes with a flash, but it looks like Format all over him, hugs the wall for dear life, but not able to do it. Feasts all over him. Now Nocturne falling. Red team getting caught sleeping a little bit here. All's going to go out for Zyra to try to catch DarkTerrorz, or actually Otter, but Otter able to get out of it, and Jace now trying to turn around with that advantage. Nice buster shot there coming out from Tristana. Going to be able to hopefully help them get out, and just great coverage all the way from Blue Team to get out, but oh, that gate shot. That gate shot. Oh, I don't think even Zyra expected it to quite fall right there, but Jace is feeling it pretty much, and now they're probably actually going to be able to take that turn after the valiant push that we saw from Blue right there.
Yeah, and good play here by Zongo Pro, who's going to be toast.
Yeah, we'll see if actually can get out of this. It looks like, no, it's not going to be the case. He tried really hard. That's what counts. But didn't actually have ult. You know, if he had ult there, probably could have actually turned that around pretty easily. But unfortunately, just didn't have it.
Yeah, but he did manage to take down Nocturne in the midst of all that shenanigans that went down in bot lane. And that was pretty good for him. Having started 0-2, he's now 2-3-1. Especially after having made that play earlier in bot lane. So even though we do see quite a large gold deficit, you know, these are the top level solo queue players. They don't know how far behind they are. They're like, we gotta make some play.
Well, interesting enough, you know, we saw Tristana with the big, huge CS lead and had the zoning potential. Now we've seen Otter come completely back, especially with a lot of the efforts in bot lane. You know, Lissandra's, you know, been able to farm up a lot more while Jace has been roaming, so she's coming back a little bit in that case. You know, kind of even up. Top lane still just kind of a lot of trouble. I mean, they kept Kennen split pushing in top lane the entire time that, you know, they had him rotating down to try to make something happen for his team, for DarkTerrorz team in the bot side, and they really didn't get enough bang for their buck out of it. And so DarkTerrorz still just kind of lagging behind in this game. Has been picked on quite a bit. And honestly, you know, if I was the red team, that would be a person that I'd want to focus on. You know, taking him, you know, kind of down a notch for his team is a very solid play if you're going to try to break down this DarkTerrorz team.
Right now, I think just, you know, I can't say enough how much mechanically that we've seen the tension come up to the top lane, and I just blew that phrase all so much. But as you had premature, or as you gauged.
Oh no, this is actually going to be a pretty good fight here. Otter actually zoning out, dealing a pretty good amount of damage. Uses his ult, should be able to clean this up with the barrier just in time. Will it be enough though? This is going to be close, and now we see Otter actually running for his life. Lissandra getting in there with a nice ult to slow everyone down, and Otter now trying to clean up, and Tristana hoping for that little bit of extra distance to get a nice snare onto Otter. He's very, very low. Actually, barriers out here to try to survive, but Format's going to be able to run him down. Jace is going to fall as well. Everybody goes down. Jace getting a triple kill in the middle of that. Format the double kill, and now he's going to be able to pressure on and actually finish off that bottom turret finally. But the problem is this red team has 2 people pushing, and Nocturne's actually going to put a lot of damage onto that mid turret after Kennen already has top lane, and we might actually be able to see DarkTerrorz be able to push him off, but yeah, he's going to be able to save it just a little bit, but I mean, that's just going to need one more couple hits, and that's going to be down. So overall, still a pretty good play and trade for red team because they're still able to take down some global objectives and give that to their team.
Yeah, anything Blue can do right now to get back in the game would be to either pick off Nocturne, who's being a little sneaky. If they could get some map control, they haven't taken a single turret yet, so a mid-lane turret would be nice, at least to get some of that map pressure back. Right now, they're going to see that this Blue is. Oh, they are going to potentially catch him. Oh, he does dodge a rupture, but he's going to get silenced in that blue proc, and I think we're going to see Metroid.
Oh, everybody's going for Super Metroid. He is the juicy steak that they want, and they're actually going to transfer blue and red buff to Lysandre, which is not a bad thing in this case. And now this is kind of like that one-up thing that they need. Like you said, they want Nocturne. They're able to pick him up. Now it's going to become like this kind of poke defensive game here for Red Team, and Blue might be able to get some global objectives off this. And if they're able to do that, could be pretty big for them. Interesting pulverize over the wall with the AoE to actually hop up Zyra there. I don't know if it was necessarily worth it or a big thing. And oh, wow, I almost thought Zonga Pro was going for that. I saw that. I was like, he's going. I was almost 100% sure he was going. And now we actually see it start to get turned around. Kennen coming in as well. Otter on the backside. This is all sorts of trouble for Blue Team as Tristran's caught in the middle of it. Jace's going to chase him down just to make sure. And the rest of the team on the pursuit. Zyra throwing down ult to protect Otter. 1v1ing Cho'Gath in the back. And Zik just trying to run down, get some sort of stun onto the two remaining Blue players. And DarkTerrorz just unfortunately just a little bit too late to the party. And Red Team just kind of running their muck.
Yeah, bringing that kill total, 17 kills for the Red Team, and it looks like they're going to make a play for Baron. Nocturne fresh up from the grave, having got picked off earlier. It was perfect planning. He said, guys, I'm going to go ahead and set this up so that they overextend. And then by the time I get back, you're going to go ahead and kill a couple of them, send them back to base, and then I'll be back here just in time to do Baron. At 16
Perfect planning.
minutes.
Perfect planning. 16, 17-minute Baron. Nicely played by Red Team. They played really great on all these objectives. DarkTerrorz just wasting some time here as he's going to be caught out. Going to sacrifice the body. Was trying to hope that he could stall just a little bit, make them scared maybe, and back them off of Baron. But now you see Otter just running past a giant Cho'Gath, like doesn't even care. All he sees is kills, exhaust going down here. The Billsboro having to jump into bait to protect himself. And the only real hope they have right now is to get out a stall. They're able to pick up Otter. There's all coming down there to clean it up. And oh my gosh, never mind. Resets coming in here, able to pick up 2. Will they be able to get more though? They need a slow or something to run down the rest of the team. It looks like it's not going to come into play. Nicely picked up again. Kennen should be able to take that top turret since they're not there. There it falls down. And yeah, the jukes, too good. Too good with the gates. And still have the mid turret up, so they should be fairly safe here. They should be able to get this, actually.
Yeah, they're going to want to take this and then just get the hell out of dodge and possibly let DarkTerrorz push up top. Dragon is up, and I think they've had previous warning on this. They should know that the Dragon's available. If they can pick up this Dragon, having picked up mid turret and get those kills and get out safely, that would be a big win in the book. For Blue, especially if they were to let DarkTerrorz farm up a little bit, but it looks like he's going to go ahead and grab Wolves.
Oh, there's the pressure coming in. This might be a trap, although they are going to be able to get Dragons, so they just need to sacrifice the format buy. If they can get out with everybody else, it will be worth it for them at least. And it looks like format is going to go down, but as long as everybody else can get out again, I think they should be fine with that trade. But it's becoming pretty precarious here. DarkTerrorz rotating down just for the ult in case things get really hairy onto a target. And now actually turning around to Otter, just being really, really aggressive here, taking a ton of damage. Now tries to turn around, is going to try to get it all. Not going to be able to get it. Hankam coming in here now, ulting up to try to take out some damage. Blade of the Rook Team's going for both teams. Kennen ult nicely placed with an Hourglass from both AP champions. Ult coming from DarkTerrorz as he sacrifices himself to try to get off a little bit more damage. But now here comes Super Metroid. He could be able to jump in at any moment if they really need him to in this trade. 3v4 down a bot turret. Cho'Gath trying to run back out, and they should be able actually to hold off this pressure right now. Unless, oh no, unless that pick happens. That was actually a pretty big play by Zik right there. That was pretty clutch. And now we're just going to see the poke and siege start on this bot lane. They still have 6 seconds, and oh, there it is, all in. You're not near a turn anymore. The rest of the crew comes in the back door and puts him away, and now they're running past the base turret even. Super Metroid says, let's do this, bro. I got an Otter behind me. This is going to happen. Format's going to go down, and now it's just DarkTerrorz trying to win this one out. Should be able to hide him into a turret. DarkTerrorz has nowhere to run, and this is just one of those moments where you know you've gone a little bit too far, but luckily he has some backup. And this could be cleaned up really quickly, though, with some resets from the Billsboro. So they're getting a little bit too hyphy there, as a lot of people would say. A little bit too ham. But overall, still red team with a pretty commanding lead. The thing they need to be careful of, though, is like when they have a chance to get a really big advantage, instead of diving past the turret, instead of sending back to base, get more damage on the base turret, maybe take a base turret. That's bigger for them at this point because Tristana's going to still be that late game champion. That's going to be a really big problem for them. It could just totally tilt the game back to a comeback victory for blue team if they just kind of stall it out for a little bit longer. Lucky for them, they're at a pretty commanding lead at 20 minutes in. But that's something they have to be cautious of. You can't get too cocky. Otherwise, we're going to see our first big, come from behind upset here in the Judgment League.
Upset down 10K.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, right now we can see Jace actually trying to potentially just either harass Tristana here or just take the big golem. And right now, that small golem is destroying.
Yeah. that water gun apparently doesn't work very well against Rock. I didn't know.
So it looks like Zongu Pro going to try and take a blue buff here. I think this might be the first blue buff he's had all game. Correct me if I'm wrong.
Well, he stole the one from Nocturne, so technically, he's had two. But yeah, I mean, for the most part, it's been a rough go for him in top lane, and kind of all over the map for blue. They've kind of just been, finding their shots where they can. If you see, like they've kind of started to spread out kills. Even Cho'Gath has 6 kills now after a lot of those team fights. I don't think red team really cares that he has a lot of the kills though at this point. Oh my gosh, Otter gonna go all in here, and this is gonna be condemned against the wall. Lined it up, boom, into the wall you go. Bye-bye. And then we're gonna see the all in here onto Zyra. Easy pickings right there for their team. Nice spell shield into the Zyra ult to not even lose pace in here, but massive ruptures and a feast. Gonna shut down that Nocturne who's got way too greedy getting in there, but the rest of his team should be able to back up and start putting some pressure on these base turrets, and they should start to make some serious headway, and blue in a lot of trouble at this point. Needless to say, 15 seconds, 10 seconds until they can get any more of their members back, and they're probably going to lose 2 base turrets here.
Yeah, they'll probably lose. The losers definitely lose this top base turret, and I think they might even be able to pressure an inhib. And looks like DarkTerrorz going 1v2. Looks like he's been doing that all game.
It's just a lifestyle at this point for DarkTerrorz. He has no choice, and Zik trying to get all in there. Already blue Hourglass gets really close to picking up DarkTerrorz. DarkTerrorz going to be really close, tries to get some lifesteal in there, but it looks like Jace now cleaning up here, but Otter doing work, tumbling around, able to pick up that big Cho'Gath. Triple kill for Jace now at this point, the last man standing in that mid lane. And now it's just up to poor Tristana to hold off the onslaught, and I don't know if it's going to happen. Probably going to have better chance going to that mid inhibitor. But now it's getting all sorts of trouble. But the turret, will he be able to do it? He hops over him. Double kill. The juke. Oh! Downtown. Hey, by the way, I'm still here. PHP Chicken picking it up. Picking it up.
What are the odds Chicken was like, I'm just going to watch this go down and clean up if anything goes south.
And those are the sick players that I like to see. And that's what's going to come from these guys. And should be a whole league and tournament of it. So I'm actually really excited. I mean, if this is just how every game's going to be, then even in a game where someone's behind, still making really exciting plays. This game's already turning out to be a good one.
Yeah, this game's not over yet.
I know.
Baron should be up shortly. Oh, poor DarkTerrorz. Yeah.
And yeah, that's. Even has 2 people around him. Will he be able to escape those? It's going to be close. Alessandro coming in, though. And now Metroid running for his life. The question is, how long can he stall? He's like, oh, crap, that turret's still up. I thought we got that.
It's actually a really good trade for DarkTerrorz because they just took away their smite. And with Baron coming up, that means they're going to have Nocturne, on a 40-second timer. Just going to give them a chance. I mean, if you look at DarkTerrorz, he's like way behind in experience. So he's actually going to have a pretty short timer. He'll be up soon. They're not going to lose much on this, and I don't think they're going to start Baron anytime soon.
Yeah, I mean, it really is a little bit of pressure. Again, the thing you kind of want to watch for is, does red team just kind of, waste a little bit too much time? Looks like they're going to head back to a Baron. They have pink wards. Smartly done, yeah. They're not going to be, they're not going to see this coming up. Tristana just actually getting farm in bot lane, so this is completely safe for them. And we should expect them to actually start to go in and close out at least top turret, because that's already so low. They could go back and buy, but I think at this point they're so far ahead. A lot of them have just come back off of that fight, and they should be able to just easily go clean up the top tower and inhibitor.
Oh, we're going to see a bait here. Oh, nice. Oh, but I don't think they're going to have enough damage.
They want the chicken, but Jace says, let's do this. Thunderdome style. They're going to trade 1 for 1, but actually with a Baron and with the kill streak that Jace has, because that's his second death. And, you know, last I checked when he died, he had 7 kills. So since then, he's gotten 8. So that's actually a pretty big bonus trade for Lissandra right there. So that's actually a better trade, far better trade for Blue Team than it was for Jace.
We have a hot support battle that's not going to go in the favor of Oreo.
Yeah.
And I've been wanting to make an Oreo joke all night, and I almost did it right there with the cream between the middle. But you know what? I'm not going to do it. Just not. I'm going to avoid it. But Oreo
Great discipline. Great discipline.
But Oreo did put it down. This should be a top turret and a top inhib, and I think they have quite a bit of creeps that they can pressure this base, this Nexus really strong.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to be, you know, 4v4 at this point. They still have Baron up, though, so if they do go all in, it's going to have to be, you know, pretty stellar, but they're still missing some key ults that they actually just used in those last team fights. Even Feast isn't up at this point. Zik looking to get in there, gets a brilliant stun off, followed up by Super Metroid. The Hourglass is just going to waste a little bit of time, and, you know, this is the bell tolling for Blue Team. Red Team should be able to go in and close this out and take the first round of the Judgment League for the first week. Nicely played game all around by this team, impressed by every member of their team, and Blue Team as well. Still some great, you know, plays while being down like 7-10K at many points of the game. But, you know, Blue Team isn't out of it. You know, like we talked about a little bit earlier, you know, after they actually stopped trying to kill them on the fountain. And kept taking down the Nexus. You know, both these teams is Swiss, so you still both these teams are still going to get to go on and play. You know, obviously the red team since they won, but you know, DarkTerrorz is still going to have a chance to go 2-1 and get some points for his standings later on in the season.
Yeah. So we're going to go ahead and check in with the rest of the league, find out what games have finished, make sure the games are completed. We're really hoping they all got started on time. I believe they did. And we should be back shortly with the next game. Round 2, we'll be casting we'll either be casting this team or